Well, we do love some wedding drama here on this channel, but listen, when it comes to wedding days, and I always see like wedding planners and organizers and all this stuff, I don't know how I'd feel about trusting somebody to organize a lot of my wedding day. I know they're professionals, but I think I'm too much of a control freak that I would have to organize everything myself. The catering, though, however, I'm not a foodie person in terms of knowing how to cook. I love eating it. I don't know how to cook it or make it. So then I would have to get someone in charge. Let me just take a second before we get into it to thank the sponsor for today's video. If you have ever struggled with sticking to a healthy routine, whether it be portion control, emotional eating, or that all or nothing mindset around food, I think you'll really find this interesting. This video is sponsored by Hypnosio, and you may be familiar with them already through me previously talking about them. I know some of you are. And Hypnosio is a self-hypnotherapy app that approaches weight management in a completely different way. Instead of focusing on diets, restrictions, or strict workout schedules, Hypnosio actually works on the root causes of those habits through guided hypnotherapy sessions designed to retrain your subconscious mind. And that might sound a little bit out there at first, but it is a science-backed approach, and that's been shown to help people lose twice as much weight as traditional methods alone, and the best part is the results actually last. Personally, I've been through the whole cycle, tracking calories, doing one of those workout plans for one of those workout conglomerates, hiring a personal trainer, counting my macros, all this kind of stuff. I think people's journey with food and weight is very, very different. But I want to share this because this is something that really works for me. I've actually used it before for other areas in my life, sleep, for example. And a lot of my journey with food has been thinking about food. I can eat even when I'm full. And what I try to do now is replace those thoughts of I need to eat with healthier alternatives. And using Hypnosio alongside those healthier habits has really, really, really helped me. Being super disciplined just doesn't work for me. And I cannot and never will get into that mind frame of being super disciplined. I'm 36 years old. I've never been like that, and I have to face it, I never will be. I get into that mind frame for a week and then fall off again. So what I really liked about Hypnosio is that it doesn't rely on willpower. I have none. It's about changing the thought patterns and emotional triggers that make healthy choices feel hard in the first place. Each session is like a reset, right? It helps calm stress, reduce cravings, and make portion control something that happens naturally instead of through constant effort. You don't have to overhaul your life. You just listen and let your mind do the work. There are different plans available depending on how long you want to commit. Best value one, a 6-month plan for $11 a month. Huge, 75% off. It's available both on a web and as an app. The app is super, super helpful. You can do it wherever you are. Sometimes I will take 10 minutes at my desk just to be like, you know what? I'm not doing great, let me just do this before I go to bed. I've done it on planes, I've done it on trains. I found it really easy to integrate into my day, and you can just put your headphones on for a few minutes. Sometimes I do it with my LED mask, headphones in, and personally I feel noticeably calmer afterwards. Some of the biggest benefits people notice are reduced stress, more mindful eating, and less emotional snacking. What's really cool is how specific it gets. There are sessions for emotional eating, stress-related cravings, social eating, and even long-term maintenance once you've reached your goals. So if you've ever tried to change your habits and felt like nothing sticks, this might be the missing piece. Addressing the subconscious side of it instead of the surface habits has worked extremely well for me. So you can check it out at hypnosio.com or through the link below and use my code Robert15 to get 15% off your first subscription. So yeah, if you've been struggling with food habits or just want a calmer, more sustainable approach to health, I would definitely recommend giving Hypnosio a try. So go ahead and use that QR code on the screen or that link in the description box and use my discount code. All right, we are going to be looking at Bee's story time today from her situation. Yeah, so on screen it says, point of view, your wedding day was nearly ruined by a popular Chicagoland caterer, and they told you they won't speak to you until you remove your negative review about it.
I left a negative review about my wedding caterer because they ruined parts of my wedding day, and now the owner is refusing to speak with me until I delete that review. Let's talk about it. Quick context before we dive in. My husband and I got married on September 20th, 2025, and while most of our vendors were honestly incredible, the catering company that we wound up going with that's based in Elgin single-handedly ruined parts of our day. They caused our ceremony to start late, ignored written instructions, disrespected my coordinator, destroyed our wedding cake. Instead of taking accountability, the owner seriously tried to persuade me into deleting my review before he even spoke with me. So let's get into the key players. This is Greg. I don't know how to say his last name, but he's the owner of Catering Made Simple. That's who we hired. This dude was at my wedding all night long. He did not intervene one time, even after he saw things going wrong. Then there's Carrie, who's like the event and operations manager. I don't have a picture of her, so you just have to look at Greg again. I had talked to her for the entire year leading up to my wedding, and she wasn't even at my wedding and did not even send us notice.
See, sorry, my chair's too high. This is the thing. If I was speaking to somebody throughout the whole year, obviously you would want them at your wedding because you have that one-on-one with them. They're the person who has pretty much organized your wedding with you. They should be there, right? They know the ins and outs.
She was going to be there. But she was and still is my main point of contact. Then there's Leah, another staff member of Catering Made Simple, who was sent in Carrie's place last minute because Carrie wasn't even at my wedding. She kind of looks like this. And this was my wedding coordinator, Amber. Love Amber. Kept me sane. They disrespected my girl Amber so bad and kept going over her head to get to me so many times that she wound up ending up in tears by the end of the night. Let's start with before the ceremony even started. That is where everything started to spiral. Before I even walked down the aisle, we planned our ceremony between two periods of rain. Timing was everything. As we were about to get lined up to start, the coordinator was suddenly pulled aside by the catering staff and they were arguing with her because they thought that our dinner was buffet style. It's not.
Nothing wrong with a buffet, but usually at weddings you want that like sit down dinner, right? Weddings, when it's raining, stressful. Of course, you want to get in and out during that period of rain, especially if you're getting married outside. Why would the catering... Okay.
Every single document from the invoice, the contract, the emails said plated service. Even had them in a color-coded seating chart with every meal, allergy, and restriction weeks before sent to Catering Made Simple. Carrie, the operations manager, had confirmed she received it. There are all of the meal restrictions that we laid out for Catering Made Simple, the color-coded chart, and the seating plan for every single guest that we had coming to our wedding. This email was multiple pages long, and Carrie, the operations manager, responded the same day and said that she got it and that it looked great. There was so much confusion that I, the bride, had to walk into the reception where they were getting dinner ready in my wedding dress minutes before my ceremony to deal with their mess. Leah tells me, well, you didn't provide place cards, so we assumed that it was buffet. I told her, no, it's plated.
Listen, if you are organizing or preparing something as important as something on someone's wedding day, we assumed is not a sentence that should be spoken. We assumed. No, you don't assume, you ask because every detail is important. But we assumed. Why would you assume something? You are a catering company. You don't just work on assumptions.
It's in the invoice. We never once discussed buffet. She then claimed that I never sent her any meal restrictions, and we went back and forth for a minute before I started to pull them up on my phone while simultaneously asking her, why did she not have this prepared and printed? I was standing there in my gown, I pulled the email up on my phone and showed her proof, and only then did she say, oh, it looks like you did send it to us, but I don't have it. And then she proceeded to write down everything on a piece of paper while I read it off to her. Still late to my own ceremony.
But now how are they going to prepare a sit-down meal instead of a buffet? We're just going to get pieces off a buffet and put... Oh, that could work, actually.
That's what I sent for meal restrictions. Here was the layout of the venue that went over how many people were at each table and what the table number was. And on that same diagram, how many chicken and salmon were at each table and who ordered what. I'm like, where is Carrie at? She should have all of this. And that's when I found out Carrie, the only person I had communicated with for over a year with Catering Made Simple, wasn't even at my wedding. She had been sent to another event without even telling me or my coordinator who she had information for. Instead, they threw somebody completely new into the wedding with zero context and clearly zero paperwork or references. Because of their incompetence, our ceremony was delayed. And with the rain in the forecast that day, exactly when my ceremony time was supposed to be, we almost lost our outdoor ceremony. And as bad as this was, it was only the beginning, and the way that they handled our cake, the destruction, the disrespect, and the comment that they made about our cake topper, something I will never forget.
It stresses me out because I hate incompetent people owning businesses that provide services to someone's special day. Birthday, wedding, funeral, whatever. If you are providing services for a very important stage of someone's life, you need to get a whole grip on yourself and be really organized.
You would think the worst part of what the caterer did was just delaying my ceremony, but nope. What Catering Made Simple did to our cake still makes me angry. We paid Catering Made Simple for full cake service. That included setting it up on a highboy bistro table in front of our sweetheart table, cutting utensils, plates, serving the wedding party the bottom tier, wrapping the top tier, all of it. All of this was also even gone over on our final phone call about a month before our wedding. This is how our cake was promised to be displayed per a July conversation.
Okay, so it says, here's an example of a display set. Great. Okay, great. I really like those stands. They look great for the desserts. Cake cutting set is perfect too. Let's definitely add all of that, please. Couldn't be clearer, right?
This was our final invoice that showed that our top tier should have been wrapped and saved prior to serving the cake. This questionnaire was filled out by Carrie at Catering Made Simple and then sent to the venue. And right here, it says that we needed an 8-foot and a highboy table for the cake. It also touches on how the caterer was supposed to provide a cake knife. This was the set that they were supposed to provide. They did not. They didn't even set it up on a bistro table. We were told that it was time to cut our cake. We scrambled around trying to find out where the cake had been set because it was not set in front of our sweetheart table like we had asked. We finally found the cake pushed to the back of our dessert table, and when it was actually time for us to cut it, there were no utensils, no plates, and no setup. This was our cake, shoved to the back of our dessert table.
I mean, that does look nice, but it's not what they wanted. And also, as you can see from the pictures, got a lovely wedding dress. They have to lean over to cut it.
Here's our cake again, shoved to the back of the dessert table.
Really
I needed to really reach my arms to be able to get to that cake. Now, you might be noticing that there's something weird about that cake. Like, what is that board in the middle of the cake? Oh, I'll tell you. It was our cake topper.
Oh, the dogs. That's a massive cake topper.
That was supposed to look like this. This cake was made by a very close friend of mine and my husband's, and it was meant to be a special part of our day. I provided a custom-made wooden topper to our caterer inside a protective frame with written instructions. It said, gently pop the topper out of the frame before placing it on the cake. Instead, they shoved the entire frame straight into the cake.
So the writing was meant to pop out like a puzzle piece almost.
Split the top tier, completely destroyed the design, and left our cake looking nothing like what we had envisioned. And then one of the staff members said, oh, we're not used to working with those kinds of cheap toppers. Custom made, not cheap. And
You were given instructions. We're not used to it. Yeah, okay, so here's the instructions on how to do it. You just pop it out. Everyone in their life has had something where they need to pop something out of something. It's a human motion we've all done.
Now ruined. Let's remember that the top tier was supposed to be saved prior to serving, and this is how the cake was presented. This was the top tier. When I saw that cake, my heart sank. I looked over to my coordinator and I called her. I was like, oh my God. She came running. I pointed it out and she was furious. We went to the back where catering staff was cleaning up, tried to get an answer for why somebody would do this, and even my coordinator could not get a straight answer from staff as to why that happened. Our wedding photographer had to step in and fix our cake topper to even salvage a single good photo of it. Damage was already done by that point. The top tier was ruined and split. Our photos did not come out the way that we envisioned, needing to reach over the entire table to even get to our cake. Really having our backs turned to our guests. Our guests were all seated behind us, to where we literally had to make a conscious effort to turn around to try to get a good cake photo. There's the cake though. The cake had just...
I know what you're saying. Seems like, oh, loads of like picky little details, but these picky details wouldn't have to be so picky if the cake was where it was. You wouldn't have to consider which way you're facing. You wouldn't have to consider leaning. That's why details like this need to be put into motion and so specifically planned for weddings. Because let's be real, this is why I personally don't want a wedding myself. A big wedding is because a lot of it is show. A lot of it is show for your guests, right? And that's fine. That's fine if you want to do that. But yes, if your guest is coming to your wedding, they do want to see you cut the cake. They don't want to see your back while you do it. They do want to see you, feed each other a piece of cake, not shove it in each other's face because that's embarrassing. But, they want to see all this. They want to see their friends, their family having all these key moments in the wedding.
It's been taken out of the freezer before it was served and put out. When we were trying to cut the cake, it was so cold. The utensils that weren't the utensils that we rented legitimately bent. We weren't even able to cut a piece of our own cake. So we grabbed some of the
Yeah.
sheet cake that was right here, and that's what we used for our photos because everybody was waiting, everybody was watching, and the cake cutting song had looped 3 times. Granted, our photographer did a phenomenal job and our photos came out beautiful, but that was not what I expected at all. The bottom tier of that wedding cake was supposed to be served to me, my husband, and my wedding party. Instead, I found out that my wedding party was served sheet cake. Everything we had planned and everything we had paid for was ignored. This wasn't just a mistake. It was carelessness, disrespect, and total disregard for the time, money, and love that we had poured into this entire wedding. And if that wasn't bad enough, the way that they treated my guests, my coordinator, and even me personally was next level unprofessional. Catering Made Simple staff was incredibly dismissive, aggressive, disrespectful, and unprofessional.
Okay, so I can see some people are going to watch this and be like a few different sides of this. A lot of people are going to think she's quite picky in what she wants. But listen, if you are paying for something at a premium price, be as picky as you want. And these aren't over the top bridezilla details. These are normal things that are expected at most wedding events. Weddings, sorry. It's basics. It's wedding basics. You know what I mean? It isn't like she's like, I want to swoop down on a bubble that's going to pop. And when it pops, I want confetti to come out and I want the cake to be lowered from the ceiling. All she wanted was the cake on a table in front of her when it comes down to it, right? She wanted her ceremony to be on time. She basically wanted everything they had been planning for a year previously.
You would think the worst part of what the caterer did was just delaying my ceremony. Welcome back to part 4 about how my caterer single-handedly ruined parts of my wedding. Throughout dinner, catering staff kept walking around asking over and over if people were done eating, like aggressively hovering over tables. It got so bad that some guests just handed over their plates early because they were just tired of being asked. One of our wedding guests commented this under our review of Catering Made Simple. Pause to read.
Okay, let's read. So this is a review from a guest. I didn't want to say anything that night because it was your wedding, but it makes sense now. I noticed around 11 p.m. the catering ladies going around and clearing each table while people were on the dance floor. They were throwing away everything without asking guests first. They gathered up and threw in the garbage all the souvenir glow sticks. I had to keep ours in my hand. I stood up to say goodbye to a few people leaving, and she must have reached right behind my back and took my drink. Darlene set a full drink on the table and stepped away for a moment, and they snatched her drink. I told Darlene these ladies were being very rude. There was still another hour of the party left, and they were clearing the tables like they wanted to go home. Very rude. And you would think as well, I mean, catering staff, yes, they have to clean, but I'm sure they're there for a few hours after, you know?
But it wasn't even just Gus. It cleared my own plate, the bride's plate, while I was in the bathroom. I was only in there for like 10 minutes. I had literally only eaten half my meal at that point. I walked back and I saw my food was gone. I went into the kitchen and I said, hey, you guys took my plate and I wasn't done and I'm still hungry and also you took my water. Didn't offer to fix anything. Our staff lead then walked me across the entire reception to the bar to get a glass of water, and I could have done that myself. I had not eaten all day. I was still very hungry. The way that they treated my coordinator, Amber, incredibly unacceptable. Amber is an absolute professional, and I will recommend her forever. She's calm, she's detail-oriented, and respected in the industry. Catering Made Simple staff ignored her time and time again, waved their hands at her when she tried to ask questions, and dismissed her completely every single time. Literally ended up in tears on my wedding day because they refused to listen or work with her. They kept going over her head to get to me. Leah took it even further. Told Amber that she planned to pull me, the bride, aside during the reception to tell me how much she didn't approve of my choice of a coordinator. My mother and maid of honor had to physically step in and tell her absolutely not. Can you imagine a catering staff member threatening to confront the bride on her wedding day to complain about somebody they hired? Come on. Obviously,
it's like no one who works for this catering company has common sense. It's really, really strange. I wonder what their experience is in the wedding industry in general, because it doesn't seem like they have any.
know from part 3, they called my cake topper cheap. We all know that anything custom made in the wedding industry is not cheap.
It's not
completely
cheap.
out of line and unacceptable for them to even say that. Part that really still blows my mind is that the owner of Catering Made Simple, Greg, who's picture you saw in the first part was there the entire time. He saw me ask about my food. He saw me walk into the kitchen. Never once introduced himself. Never once apologized.
This is the man who owns the company. Surely you want what's best for you, because things like this happen. People talk, and then other people talk. Other people make videos about it. Come
Never
on.
once stepped in to make things right. He watched all of this happen from beginning to end. The disrespect, the ruined cake, the mistreatment of my coordinator. He chose to stay silent the whole night. I did not even know that that dude was the owner because he never even introduced himself. It wasn't even until I saw a picture of him that I was like, oh my God, he was there. Not until it was confirmed that he was there by multiple guests. And Carrie herself during a conference phone call 2 days after the wedding. And just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, Greg decided to respond after the wedding. Not with an apology, not with accountability, but by trying to pressure me into deleting my review before he'd even talk to me. I keep running out of time, so stay tuned for part 5. I'm gonna post my entire review. And Greg's posted my review on the Knot, the same as all the other ones. But of course, it got removed. That's not the newest review because they disputed it. This is an email from the Knot. Pause to read.
So it says, hi Brianna, I hope the email finds you well. We are reaching out to you in regards to the review you left on the Not for Catering Made Simple. What? Please know that oh my God, I can't read. Sorry, I had to lean in. Please know that we want to encourage our users to feel free to leave all reviews, regardless if they are good or bad. However, in our role, we need to validate that all reviews comply with our review policy. This request is only to confirm your identity as a legitimate reviewer per that policy. We are in need of the following to validate your review: the entire contract in your name with the necessary signatures, proof of payment in your name, i.e. receipt, cash, check, or invoice that shows the deposit was paid, proof that the vendor requested you to delete the review, email chains forwarded only, no screenshots, and text chains. Okay, that is good that they are so in-depth on reviews, you know, because some people can just leave bad reviews for no reason.
So I went ahead and provided every single thing they possibly could have needed.
Good.
This company keeps doing the craziest stuff for damage control. It blocked my personal account completely from Facebook. I still get notifications under the posts that I made for this review, but I cannot visit the page at all. It tells me they don't exist. So I visited them on a business page that I don't have active anymore, and I could definitely see their page. So I left them another review. Here's the full review. Again, pause to read. Here's the second part. This company keeps doing the craziest stuff for damage control. It blocked my personal account completely from Facebook. I still get notifications under the posts that I made for this review, but I cannot visit the page at all. It tells me they don't exist. So I visited them on a business page that I don't have active anymore, and I could definitely see their page. So I left them another review. Here's the full review. Again, pause to read.
Catering Made Simple has repeatedly attempted to silence dissatisfied clients, including myself. They block negative reviews, reviewers, dispute and hide legitimate reviews, and have successfully removed many negative Google reviews. My name is Brianna, and I left an honest review on September the 26th on their Facebook page. Google since deleted, and they're not currently hidden after dispute by Catering Made Simple, proof attached. I've also shared a detailed story time on TikTok to help other couples make informed decisions. This account I'm posting on is an old business account of mine, and this business is no longer active, but the Facebook sure is. This is where I discovered I have been blocked. I have no access to Catering Made Simple's Facebook page under my legitimate account, but I have access to their Facebook page on all 3 of my other business accounts. On October the 2nd, 2025, I sent a formal demand letter to Catering Made Simple via email and certified mail. They have not responded. See attached for that proof too. They now have 2 weeks after receipt of the certified mail to respond direct to me, or I will proceed with a small claims court filing against Catering Made Simple. Do it. Please do it. If I find my post deleted, altered, or any other account of mine blocked, that will serve as formal notice and proof that you've received the demand letter which is attached. To be clear, I have never once asked anyone to leave a review for Catering Made Simple on my behalf. In fact, I've publicly discouraged that behavior in my videos and comments because I believe in fairness on all accounts, even when fairness isn't being extended to me. The reality is, people make their own decisions, and that is beyond my control. However, some of the reviews that have since been deleted here, written by my own wedding guests who had direct communication with Catering Made Simple, which is unacceptable business behavior. It also raises a question of how many other reviews or reviewers they have silenced or blocked to protect their reputation. As a self-employed individual, I have the time and resolve to shine a light on unethical business practices and ensure that no one else is silenced or deceived by a company that refuses accountability. Good for you. That is all we have for now on this whole situation. Let me know what you think down below. I think we're going to need to do a follow up. I think we're going to need to see what happens. If you own a business, if you are a business owner and you do not know what you're doing, don't do it. Please don't do it. Why are you always fucking up people's wedding days? Is my question. All right, so much for joining me here. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. Remember to check out a sponsor of today's video down below in the description box, and I will see you very soon.